This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Doug Smith. It's Thursday at 2:30, time for our Monday through Thursday 2:30 podcast. This is where you will hear the science of what happened in this opioid crisis. That's what we do here. We go over the science. Uh, if you've been with us for a while, you know we're going through the second citizens petition, page by page. Um, and actually, the page we're looking at right now, I find to be a stunningly interesting page. We gave 11 requests to the FDA. We're looking at request number 7 today. This is asking the FDA to do genetic testing on everybody. There's nothing that mandates the FDA. They're not required to do genetic testing, but it would be the right thing for them to do, be the right thing for them to do morally and ethically. Because look at the evidence there on the right. Look at those 5 studies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's some of the evidence. That's some of the most important evidence that the FDA has completely ignored, that the psychiatrist has completely ignored, that the medical community has completely ignored, that has been completely ignored. If you want to call somebody an opioid addict, you have to ignore those 5 studies. If you want to call somebody an opioid addict, you have to ignore those 5 studies. That's what's required. Okay, and those are some darn good studies. Those are the studies that were done on the DNA. Okay, and you can see that they cover years. Okay, it starts with Nielsen there on top from 2009, and then you've got Shorbov from 2011, and then you've got 2 articles by the brilliant Dr. Eliza Walkman. Uh, uh, Absolutely brilliant Dr. Walkman, one from 2014 and one from 2018. And then the phenomenal study by Sandoval Sierra 2020. By the way, somebody just texted me a question and asked me a question. Maybe it wasn't clear in what I was saying. That now that I'm getting a better internet connection, we'll be able to do more with the podcast. No. We're not losing our podcast. We're not stopping our podcast. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna grow. Okay, one of the things that's been difficult is for me to appear on the podcast because we haven't had the bandwidth. But it looks like I'll be able to get the bandwidth to. I don't know why people would want to see me, but that seems to be what people want on a podcast. So that's all I'm saying. By the way, before we leave today, the article there by Sandoval Sierra, it's the one in the middle on the left, the effect of short-term prescription opioids. This is an absolutely phenomenal study. What Sandoval Sierra did was 100% brilliant. Sandoval Sierra took 33 opioid naive people who were having some type of a dental procedure done at the dental clinic, and signed them up to do a study. And I'm sure he paid them. And these people gave 3 DNA samples, okay, on each of 3 separate visits. Once before the surgery was done, once on the first follow-up, and once on the second follow-up. So these are people who had never taken opioids in their life. These are opioid naive people. And what Sandoval Sierra did was, take a DNA sample before they had any opioids. They had their dental procedure done. They took, Vicodin or hydrocodone or whatever for pain. And then they, came back to check in and at the clinic. And when they came back, they did a second DNA test and then even a third DNA test. And even on the first follow-up visit, which would be the second DNA test, in other words, just after a few doses of the opioids, Sandoval Sierra could see the genetic damage. That's how toxic the opioids are. That's how toxic the opioids are. That's how poisonous these things are. Sandoval Sierra could see the genetic damage after just a few doses. Now stop and think about that. Okay, the FDA hasn't even admitted that yet that the opioids are causing genetic damage. The CDC is out asleep at the wheel. And here's Sandoval Sierra in June of 2020 publishing an article, absolutely brilliant, done at the University of Tennessee, that showed that you can see the damage to the DNA after just a few doses. Stop and think about that. That's how poisonous this stuff is. And it got past the FDA and it got past the CDC, which is why I've decided to write a book, and then I've decided to title the book FDA Genocide, because we've got about 4 million deaths from this DNA damage. Even more deaths from the DNA damage than from the overdoses. All right, everybody, that's the end of our podcast for this week. It's Thursday, Everybody have a great weekend. Don't forget to like and subscribe us. Put us on your social media. Put us on everybody else's social media. And have a great weekend. And we will see you back Monday at 2:30. Bye-bye, everybody.